When you get Wingspan, the first challenge is to get a win. The second is to beat the hard automa. The third is to crack 100 points. Now comes the really hard challenge, 120 points. We'll take you through one way to conquer this challenge on Legendary Tactics. In this game, Cax is going to take us through how he is going to try for the high score of the day, 120 points or more. Thanks for joining me, Cax.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to walk us through this game here.
So this part is really important, choosing your cards, choosing your resources. So tell me what you're thinking here.
Okay, so right away, right off the hop, I'm going through my head which ones are cheap. I want to get ones that I can get down as many as possible before having to get eggs, unless there are some that give you the option. So right away, Anna's hummingbird is in there.
Cheap,
so that's
but that benefits everybody, though.
Yeah, it does. But in this particular game, I'm not so worried about my opponents because I am going to beat them anyway. So
right, that's
so it's kind of irrelevant.
I love it. Love your confidence.
And just so that you know as well, I'm playing the automa level, the medium automa, and 4 medium bots. I did double check with the digital Steam version. It only lets you play the 4 bots along with the automa. So you can't play all automas.
That's
so
right,
I took the gull, and now I'm taking the with geography in their names as well. So birds, 2 to 3 birds with geography. So I've got the Anna's hummingbird and the ring-billed gull. So I'll be able to drop into any of the 3 with the Anna's hummingbird, and of course into the wetlands with the ring-billed there.
Perfect.
And the ring build offers a tuck option, which is kind of neat. So you draw a card, tuck a card, get a point, and then get a new card. So right away you're going to be kind of milling your deck there.
Brilliant. Now, when you're picking your initial cards, how much are you looking at the end of round bonuses and keeping that in mind?
Not at all. Not at all. For me, it's completely about getting the engine up and running. And I'm not. And in fact, very distant second place is actually even my end of game bonus card that I draw.
Right. Well, in the digital version, you don't actually know what your bonus is going to be when you pick your cards. When you're doing it live, you have that all out in front of you. But in this edition, you have to wait.
Okay, so I've never played the live version. That's very interesting. So that I didn't know that. I always thought it was you must pick your birds and then you're given the. So that's an interesting subtlety.
Maybe I misread the rules, but I play with my kids, so we even do, when we were just playing for fun as a family, and they get a completely terrible birds, I'll just let them
mulligan?
Pick 5 new birds. Yeah, so we'll let everybody mulligan.
Sure.
Sometimes
house rules, right? House rules are great. Yeah.
But no such luck on this when you're going for a record.
No, you got to play by the rules. So right away, I noticed that I hit a worm. So one of the other automas has obviously got some kind of ability where it's drop everyone a worm, which is awesome.
Nice.
A nice little bonus. Yep. I'm going to get some eggs going here. Get the egg mill running. And that
actually is going to end of round bonus too. Now you've got 1 for this round, so that sets you up nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And what I was really doing it for was to get the extra resource as well. So now when I pick the egg up, because Anna's hummingbird is in the the prairie lands.
Yes. Oh, yes. Nice. In the grassland.
In the grasslands.
Yes.
That's going to score me the eggs plus the resource. So that's a really nice kind of. I've already started the combo going there.
Yeah, I noticed a vulture in the card draw. There was. Do you sort of keep your eye on the card draw, and look at the big scores? Right.
So, So the vulture's he's a low ticket item, but
costs nothing to get him out there, right?
Yeah, he's low cost, but he's going to be especially so early in the game that whenever anyone succeeds, and because I'm playing with 4 bots, if I can snag him, that's going to be a really nice coup de grace for those pink abilities. Those pink cards are really critical early game. If you can get them going in some kind of good fashion, then you can really start to boost your engine. Your engine just starts
compound
really
interest throughout the game because it's only once between turns, so you really need a longer time to have those working for them to really pay off.
That's right. And then there's another one there, the Eastern Kingbird. So I'm going to be trying to eye him up as well. We'll see if I can't pick him up in the
Now, how do you
the
like
wetlands.
how do you like the wetland compared to the grassland and the forest? I see you're really emphasizing this game, the wetland. Are you trying to get your card draw up in order to hit the 120?
Yeah, so you've got to get that going, and there's the Chihuahua Raven, which is like
Huge.
really awesome, and another Blackbird, which is another great ability. So I do have to tuck one. That Chihuahuan Raven is not going anywhere, so he'll be staying in my mitt. But because that right there is your whole resource draw.
Well, and now because you can tuck cards, like you're working in the wetlands, so you're going to get tons of cards, and now you actually have a way to transform that into points.
That's right. Yeah. So the Raven is so beautiful when you put him in the prairies there, because he
in the grassland.
Yes, in the grassland, because when he's in the grassland, you put your eggs, take one of the eggs, boom, you've got your resources. Now with Anna's hummingbird, that's another. So I'll be getting basically 3 resources for 1 egg every time I pick the grasslands. Brilliant. Yeah.
So you don't really need to choose the choose food option here. You've
no,
got that
so,
in off-row birds.
No. Forest is basically out. What I'm going to try to actually sort of hone in with the forest is putting my expensive birds and that either don't have anything, or putting any, like, the one-off abilities, like, draw 2.
Right. Interesting.
Draw
strategy.
2 end of turn bonuses. Yeah, end of game bonuses for whatever. Draw 2, leave 1. So that's sort of what I'm going to plan on with this game. If I can kind of like. It's really difficult to sort of always. You just never know what you're going to be dealt, and there's so many variables in this game, which is part of the beauty of it, really.
Yeah. Now you've been scoring consistently over 100. The last couple nights you've been playing, and one after another, you're telling me I got 100 something again, and 115. I think you just said tonight. So this is the big milestone, is 120. Do you think there's a chance you could hit 130?
That's kind of my goal. That is the ultimate goal. I have been working really hard to try and parlay these different skill sets into that 130 game. That is going to be the next video, if I can pull it off. I don't know though. I haven't actually. I've been keeping my eye on the Steam daily high scores, and I have not seen a 130 yet. So that is something that I would love to achieve.
So I think in the expansions, the Europe and Oceania expansions, you start to see a lot more of the high point games, 150, 160, that kind of thing. But in the base game, I think cracking 100 is a really strong achievement. And but you're stepping it up to 120. So kudos to you.
Yeah. Now I haven't actually seen the expansions much. Have you dabbled at all yourself into those? Have you looked at those at all yourself, or no?
Well, actually, for Christmas, I just got, and I have sitting behind me here. I probably went quiet for a second while I was turning around to look at it. I've got the European expansion, so that is going to be a lot of fun. I didn't want to unleash it on the family just yet, because they're still getting played a couple of live games, so I didn't want to get to the next expansion before they get comfortable with the first one. But I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, awesome. All right. So you're going to be able to crack into that sooner than later.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted to point out real quick is that if you look at my current bird scores there, I've got 2 6-bangers, which are pretty nice scoring birds to have in hand, coupled with the grasslands resource draw that I have going on. That's a really wicked combo, because I'm able to basically drop those birds down like every other turn.
That's amazing.
And those birds, of course, come like the fish crow. I'm going to be able to even get more resources out of.
2 food. One of them is wild food, and he can go in any habitat. So for you right now, that gives you tons of flexibility. Lots of points for the end of game. It's looking good.
So I actually only tied for second place in the first round
so
there.
0 points. Ouch. That would have been nice to get that 4 points.
Yeah. But you know what, though? It's the end goal, right? So it's the end game that I play for. I don't necessarily play for that first round, because it is only 4 points. But, if you can easily pick them up, like, of course you're going to. But it's not a make or break situation. It's more the long game you want to aim for.
But if you're sitting at 116 points at the end of this game, you may be a little vexed.
That is true. So Let's hope that we can break 116 at least.
Yeah. Now, why here are you picking random cards rather than the 3 you can see? What's your rationale behind drawing blind?
Because those ones there in particular were ones I wasn't very interested in, or I'm not very interested in. So I'm going for ones that.
You looking for higher value cards, or
higher value cards that are going to get me into the right locations? Those. The bonus, actually, the captain's... there's another reason as well, because I actually do have the draw, the tuck ability.
Yes.
So I did want... And I just missed the one I grabbed. But I did... there was one there that was in the tableau that I grabbed because I didn't want to take them right off because I was going to throw some away anyway. So...
Right. Oh, so you're just... Yeah, right. It doesn't really matter then.
So yeah, grab 3 from the random mitt. If you happen to get one you want, keep that and discard one of your others. But that way, you always have the tableau in front of you that you know you can pick up from after you tuck.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So for listeners out there or viewers out there who haven't had a chance, we've got some strategy guides. We got 2 of them. One is more for beginner levels. One is more for introductory advanced level. And we'll link to those at the end of the video. But they'll take you through some of the basic strategies you want to look at in the game. And if some of what Cax is saying isn't making much sense to you just yet, then have a look at those videos and they'll help you get some of the groundwork down.
That is a really good point. Actually, there's a lot of good. We've put out a fair bit of good content on different strategy approaches to the game. So, speaking of which, the pink cards. I've just got the belted kingfisher down there. So now when anyone in the game for the rest of the game plays into the wetlands, I'm going to be drawing a fish.
Right.
So that just helps my resource allocation. There's the horned lark, which now when another player plays into the grasslands, I'll be getting I think I draw a card. I believe that's what it said. Tuck a card. So I'll be tucking a card for a point
when they
for
play
anytime anyone plays. Yeah, so I have to keep my card draw up now, and I have to
Wow.
make sure that I've got cards to discard in hand. I've got my fish draw going, and so these are all just beautiful passive cards that are just going to be helping me chisel away at my score there.
Right. Now, to get some of these higher level scores, you probably do need to have more players in the game, because there's naturally more synergy from these pink cards between players if there's more people playing. So it'd be hard to pull this off against, say, just the hard automa.
Right, and I had been for a long time just playing heads up against the hard automa, and to crack 100 is a bit of an accomplishment. And so I have noticed my scores have kind of inflated a little bit since playing with 4 bots. So it's a recommendation if you're looking to just find general strategy and sort of synergy with your cards and get a good sense for that. It's a sense of accomplishment. Hey, I'm getting some
and
good
to impress
scores.
your friends too,
to wow your friends, and that kind of
for sure.
boost your ego a little. Definitely recommend playing with the 4 bots. That the other thing you want to remember is when we're playing with 4 bots that their tableaus too have cards such as everyone draws a card, or everyone gets a worm, or everyone gets a wheat. So or Anna's hummingbird right there. So you know what, we're constantly helping each other out in a lot of ways too.
Well, and what you lose in end-of-round bonuses, because you've got suddenly 4 other competitors for them, you gain through extra food or save terms. And really, it's a turn efficiency engine-building game. So that's way more valuable than the 4 points you get at the end, right?
That's right. And getting your engine up, getting those pink cards down early, I'd sacrifice that any day for those 4 points at the end of round 1. Now, round 2, 3, and 4, different story, but... For the time being, you wanna make sure that you're up and running as best you can early.
Definitely. Now, a little distinction here too. You're up against 3 AI and 1 automa. So the automa is actually a separate system. It's not even designed by Stonemaier Games. They bring in another company to do that. I think Root does the same thing with they actually call it the automata as opposed to the automa. But
yes.
And which do you find harder, the automa or the AI, like the computer players?
Yes, generator. You know what? I actually haven't found much of a difference. So I actually should look into it a little bit more. But no, I found them to be. In my mind, they're all just the bot. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
There is that distinction between the automa
Yeah, because the automa, it's almost like a program where they've programmed it to do certain things at certain times, whereas I think the AI
is a little more random.
I think it might consider the options more. Was the automa just sort of, it knows what it's going to do. You know, it's like you can play the automa live with the real game too, where there's the game tells you what that player is going to do. So I wonder how valuable it would be to emulate its style of play. Like, would that consistently get you a score in the 80s or 90s if you did exactly what the automa does, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a very interesting potential video there, actually.
Yeah.
Try it out. See what happens. Show our viewers what would happen if we followed the automa's strategy guide to see how.
I think it has separate rules that it follows.
Oh,
and it might break some of the rules that we play by. I haven't looked at it too closely, but because like you, I just sort of let it do its thing with the digital version, which is the beautiful thing about the digital version. You don't have to think about that.
So there's the yellow-billed cuckoo, just so you know, another pink ability. Now when another player takes eggs, I'll be getting one egg dropped on any of the ones with that symbol there. So
the eggs, that one there, the ground?
The ground, yeah. So I'll be dropping into ground anytime they lay eggs. So that is going to be now for the rest of the game as well. So there's a lot of potential eggs.
And it's still only round
in the ground.
Too, man, that Chihuahuan Raven, that guy is just going to crank out the food for you. Anytime you can get one for two deal, that is just killer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to score in on that. One thing I've noticed, and it's a little bit lacking for me in this game thus far, is card draw. And I've come to realize there's a bit of a pecking order. You want to sort of get, first off, resources. Then you need to get, but I would argue that card draw is the second most important, because without the cards, you can't even, like eggs you can always get two, right? But
yeah, that's true.
The cards are so tough to get in early game. If you don't get your wetlands up and built, and you're picking one card a turn, it is such a waste. So
yes, it is.
And the other thing is, from what I've seen of the card draws, there's not a ton of there's a lot of 2-for-1s, but they generally occur in the wetlands. So you're already having to pick wetlands, and you really want to try and get that into either the forests, because that way you don't have to pick wetland or grasslands, and you can choose one of those two and still get your card draw, like with the killdeer, for example.
Very nice.
Yeah. So right away we've got and the other awesome thing that you want to keep in mind are the wild card
you
birds.
Love the star powers. You're just I know when I play against you, I cannot get those because you grab them as fast as they come up. Yeah.
But now right here's an example. So I at the beginning of my turn, I gained a worm and I gained a bird and an egg. So and now I gained a fish.
Yeah.
So there's
look at how much food you have right now.
There is
7 food just sitting there rotting on the docks, like doing nothing. It's great.
Yeah, I know.
Because suddenly, end of game, you're going to get those high-level birds. They take 3 food each, and you'll just be able to slap them down one after another.
No problem. That's right. Yeah. And the thing is, I haven't even started my turn yet, and 2 resources and an egg have come my way. So the engine is like pretty much up and fully running now. Now it's just a matter of, can I get enough egg capacity with my birds?
Yeah.
And there's another fish that I just drew, and now part of it is capacity. So you're looking at the birds that are. So that Canada goose is sweet, by the way.
So 2 food only, and you discard 1 wheat to tuck 2 cards, and you've got the card draw going. So
that's right,
and that's from the deck actually. So you actually, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And
that's not even out of your hand. So
No, so that'll just be a constant mill. What I have played games which pair beautifully with the Canada Goose is where there is and I can't remember the name of the bird, but it basically allows you to repeat an option.
Oh yes, yeah, those are great.
So you can
There's a few repeater birds in the game.
Yes, you could start just basically this like landslide, as long as you can keep your wheat up for that particular Canada Goose bird.
That's right.
You can basically get 4 points per turn just out of that bird.
Well, and you've got the Chihuahuan Raven, so you can just choose wheat every turn.
That's right, wheat, and then rinse and repeat. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And if he's in the grasslands, then you're also getting all those eggs put down where they need to be.
Yeah.
There's another. So I get to put one with a nest
In the bowl nest.
Yes, and I'm a little bit worried that I might be full up, and there's a worm. So you can just kind of see the momentum. I don't have great, like a 5 and a 4. Now the Bell's Vero, I believe, is I get to draw another end of game bonus card, but I want to get that Canada Goose down. That's kind of a priority.
Well,
and
Eve,
even though I have to.
And you've got them in with the Chihuahuan Raven, so whenever the Chihuahuan, it's in the reverse order, but the Chihuahuan Raven will produce the wheat you need for the next time you click in the grasslands.
Now I did flip over to the black-crowed night heron. This is because basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get rid of some eggs because I'm getting too full up on eggs. I need room because when I pick the grassland option, I need to have enough room to drop them all into. So I'm planning. I'm planning ahead there for that end game rush on eggs. So
yeah, because you've only got 7 out of 22 eggs down now, so you do have capacity. But you are going to need sets. That one's a bit challenging. That you really need to plan forward on that and balance your eggs out across the 3 different habitats. Otherwise, you get caught at the end not being able to get enough eggs to get the sets you need.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm debating right now if I'm going to drop that Canada Goose into the wetland. I'm sort of mathing it out because for every turn that I'd be getting 2 and I'm going to go into the grassland, which probably makes a bit more sense because I can always discard one of them to replenish the 2 wheat. So the wheat that I spent.
Yeah. Very nice.
What I'm not loving is that I can't really do it next turn without getting a wheat because I'll be out on wheat. So I don't want to be out on wheat. I want to have at least 1 wheat in hand before I play it so that I can actually use it on the following turn.
Right. Yeah.
So that's sort of what my quandary is here. Just double checking my...
checking your bonus. Yeah. Looking. How many do we have now with geography? So Canada's going to be 1. What else have we got?
With geography terms? Yeah. I didn't quite catch how many I had thus far, but it's a pretty low bar, actually. It's only 2 to 3 that you need with having 1.
That's right. Yeah, and it's only 3 points, and there's a lot of ways you can score 3 points. So
I'm going to kind of gamble it here. So it's only going to cost me 2 worms, and of course the egg. But I'm going to try to see if I can't score on a. So I get the nest box builder or the rodentologist, and right away the rodentologist is giving me 4 points. So that was actually an 8-point turn, which is that spread's decent. That'll do.
Yeah, nice.
Plus, because I have the spotted owl in hand too, so when I drop that would be another 2 points plus my 5 there, so it'll be 7 more when I play that spotted owl. So
that's decent. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of it is making sure your synergies line up as best as they possibly can, so that that it makes the most sense. So you can see right away though in the forest there, I've got a pink ability. Now I've got the Bell's Vero in there, which is also just 2 for 1 at the end. So there's no reason I need to ever go into the forest for the rest of this game, except to drop a card in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of it's really best if you can kind of identify each region with a specific set of things that you want to get done. Oh, and I forgot the Spotted Owl also has a bonus of a new bonus card.
Right, of course.
So it's going to be those 7 points I just talked about, plus dropping down a potential new bonus card.
At this stage of the game, too, you know what direction your tableau is taken, so you know which one is going to benefit you the most, or which one you're likely to actually be able to complete. So,
yeah. That's exactly right. Now, you just noticed that I did play the Canada Goose, and I have my wheat in hand, so I'm able to next turn play that Canada Goose if I wanted. I'm going to play the Tufted Titmouse right away, get to play the Spotted Owl.
Nice. Yeah, the 2 for 1.
So here's the 2 for 1 plus... So that's like 7 points just for the cards. Then I'm going to get...
not to mention the abilities,
The rodentologist is another 2, plus the bonus card that I'm drawing. So a 9 plus whatever the bonus is going to give me, which is... it's probably going to be a chunk of points here on this 1 turn.
Right. So what do we have here? Birds that can only live. Yeah. You've got 3 of those already. So you've already met the requirement on the forester. That's nice. Yeah,
so that's 13. That's a 13-point turn right there. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's decent. Nice power play.
Yeah.
So do you get nervous in round 3 that you've got this beautiful engine set up, you've got all the right elements? Do you ever worry you're gonna just faceplant and and start messing up here, or are you feeling pretty confident?
With the digital version, because it's a little unforgiving, like once you click next, it's happened before where it's like you're in the middle of an amazing game, and then you click next after like just a boneheaded play. Like you put the bird in the absolute wrong habitat, and you're like, no!
Right, yeah.
And once you click next, it's pretty much done. Like you there's no undoing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Do you ever get where it automatically picks, say, grain and cherries, and you say, sure, use that, but then you realize the one bird you have in hand requires cherries, and you had another option, but now you've just used the food that you need for the other bird, and I hate that.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because just tonight I was playing when I had a 115 game tonight, and as I was playing, it did that exact thing to me, and I was just about to click go, and I caught it, and the thought struck me. I think that's part of the AI. I think that's the part of the AI trying to actually misdirect you.
It's vindictive, eh?
And and there's a link to that video below as well if you want to know about vindictive AIs.
Star Realms.
Check out the link below. So, but no, I think that's a part. I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of the programming, because it happens probably almost every other game where there's a situation where they burn you on a bird, trying to get a resource out of you that you don't want to get, that you shouldn't be giving.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a really good point.
Yeah, it might just systematize and say take it from the top down rather than optimizing based on your hand, right? It doesn't really care if you mess up.
It could do that. Yeah. So the bottom line is, though, regardless of whatever it is, you want to
pay attention.
Careful. Yeah. Yes, you want to be eyeballing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that can cost you an entire turn. Then, if suddenly you can't get the one bird down you need.
That's right. So, it can blow your game up, actually.
It really can.
Especially early game.
Yes, that's
like if you've planned everything out for your first 3 turns and you muck it up in turn 1 and you're having to draw cards or draw one single resource.
Oh, that's terrible.
You pretty much delete, uninstall that game is what I would recommend. And only because I've had to do it.
Speaking of challenges, have you ever filled all 3 habitats, all of the birds, all the way across?
So I have hit that, and Steam has a term for it, and I forget it offhand. But there is, yes, I've done that. The funny part was, it wasn't even one of my best games. I was under 100.
Yep.
And I was a little surprised, because when the achievement popped up and I had all my tableaus full, I thought, geez, I'm gonna score it big. But it happened.
Was all the little birds.
It was little birds. It happened late in the game, and it was a lot of underwhelming. Just the synergies weren't there, right? So if you don't have the right synergies, it's still. You could still.
There's the repeater bird.
There it is. Yes.
Yeah,
and you know what? With a full round, and I can get tons of eggs. So if you notice, I only have 6 of 28 eggs down, right? But
that's right. So you need to start cranking the eggs up now.
Yes. So and unfortunately, if there's a drawback that I currently have in that grassland is I don't have a lot of, there's a lot of those birds where it'd be like, play 1 or 2 eggs if you own say a bowl.
Right. Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have that card in hand, but I still have room for one more bird to drop in there, so I can drop hopefully a nice juicy bird in there that'll just really start to.
That's right. Because now you need to get the eggs across the sets of eggs here. So.
You're right. Yeah. Exactly. But now this will completely help me pick. All my resources, so I can be basically dropping eggs and getting every resource I need to drop off those 9-banger birds in the next turn.
Perfect.
So I can almost alternate it.
Today we just released a video. I put together my top 10 digital tabletop games of 2020, and you know that this game was my number 1. Would you agree that this was the best game of the year, or do you have another one that you like more?
Do you know what? This game has crept up on me out of literally nowhere. I hedged my bet. You and NATO bought this game probably 2 or 3 months ago on the Steam Digital, and I hedged.
Right away we got it.
I hedged, and I wasn't sure, and then I finally pulled the trigger on it, and best digital game I've played this year, and I would have to say, best board game of 2020. If you want just a really fun game. The music in this particular digital version, though, is just beautiful, though. It's just really soothing, and Yeah, it's just such a calming. It's so juxtaposed from the actual game itself, which kind of the stress kind of builds as the game goes along, and you're listening to this beautiful quiet music, and the stress is kind of like bearing down on you, and like around this time of the game, right, where you're like madly like, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? And
you're mathing it out. Yeah. See, I don't find it stressful at all, the gameplay. Like, I compare it to, say, Twilight Struggle, where I'm just the entire time I'm like, oh man, this game is killing me, and my blood pressure is slowly rising. This game, I don't know. It just feels like you can do no wrong. Even if you end up with a terrible score and whatever, you get your 70, 80 points, like, it still feels like a lot of fun.
That is true. And part of that, I think, might stem from that it's you're playing your own board. So you're not in a game like Twilight Struggle where it's really heads up against your opponent. This one, you're kind of playing your own board. You can actually tune out all the noise from everyone around you if you really want to, and just literally focus. Oh, and there I just played the Wood Stork.
The Wood Stork, 6 victory points at the end of the game. That's nice.
6 plus I draw 2 new bonus cards, so that's another.
So your bonus score is going to be pretty hefty here.
Through the roof, and especially if I can draw. Now there's a lot of bonus cards in the deck, but if I can draw one like that, say gives me
Birds
8
with wingspans,
8 points, like that is not a bad. So that
you
was
only
a 14.
Need one more to get the 6 points off the large bird specialist.
Right, but I've already got 8 points in the ecologist, so.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So that's a no-brainer. There's another 8 points out of that, plus the points on the bird. I mean, you're hitting double-digit plays every turn now.
Right. Yeah.
That is fantastic. So I'm excited. Next week I get to interview Jamie Stonemaier from Stonemaier Games, and he's worked with. The designer of the game and brought this one to life, and so that should be a really fun interview.
And quite honestly, Stonemaier has become, over this year, hands down my favorite publisher. They're
great,
awesome. Like every game, and they follow a certain formula in it, which just works. They've got the automa system in every game. They do not chimp out on their quality pieces.
Have you got your hands on a hard copy yet of the game?
You know what? I got it gifted to me for Christmas, and it was probably the best gift I got for Christmas this year. Yeah. So
Fabulous.
I'm looking forward to sleeving my cards and getting it fired up on the table there. So hard copy.
I love the feel of the components. I love the dice tower it comes with the bird feeder, and honestly, when you feel the instruction manual, it feels like linen. It's just I'm not normally one who oogles over games like that, but this game I couldn't help it. I loved it.
And I got to tell you, I have to actually give complete props to Stonemaier here. They, on the rules book, I grabbed the rules book, and the material they used for the paper material, it's not like a chintzy paper. It's a nice quality paper.
It
was beautiful.
Textured.
Yes. Yeah. And it was like it's just a complete compliment to them and what they're trying to do with their games.
Yes.
Over the top, awesome.
And they tend to feature one board game per year. So this year it was Pendulum, but Wingspan Digital also came out this year. And some years they've done two games, but I think over 10 years they've done. Over 8 years they've done 10 games. So they really pay attention, and they're really selective about what game comes out. And so I'm really starting to pay more attention to them.
Yeah, there was a few that they've recently done. Tapestry's another one that they've put out.
Tapestry's great. Yep.
I actually sat down with NATO, and we were working through a game of Tapestry the other day, which is another kind of understated game, but it was a ton of fun. We only played about a half an hour. We only had time to just sort of get the basics, and it was a great run through as well. So another one you might want to consider looking at if you like.
Well, I think the expansion is either just came out or is coming out very, very soon. For Tapestries.
Yeah. Oh, is it too? Oh, geez.
That's right, and that's another one that Jamie Stonemaier designed himself.
So good. Yeah. So I'd love to hear what he's going to say about his sort of journey through board gaming with Stonemaier. That would be really interesting.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we're just in the final phases here. I'm on my last round, and of course the end of round bonus here will be sets of eggs in each of the 3 different theaters.
That's right.
I am actually really, really understated in my eggs, so I didn't actually pursue an egg strategy here. It was a tuck. It was completely a
good
tuck
for you.
strategy, and it was. Now, actually, I'm going to go for some eggs now as I say this, but
Well, egg lane's a fallback. If you don't have a better approach, then you lay eggs. And right now, you're going for the bonus end of round bonus, which could be just enough to push you over the 120 and, dare I say, 130.
Oh, geez, man, that would be outstanding. So we'll have to see what sort of unfolds here. But there's another tuck. So actually, when I'm drawing those eggs now, or when I'm playing the grassland, I'm actually dropping in birds as well into my into the tuck abilities.
Yes.
And so there's extra scores going on there. And I chose not to use the Chihuahuan Raven, of course, in the last turn because there's no need for resources.
No sense. I hate passing on powers though. It just feels like wasted.
I know. And of course a 4-way finish for 4th. I think we only drew 1 point each there.
1 point each. Oh man.
So there was actually a chunk of points left on the table there that I probably
Tension is palpable.
Yeah. So bird amounts. I think I did fairly well on this one overall. 60. Yeah. I tied for first on that. Bonus cards. I should actually crush them here. 23 to 17 was the next highest. End of round goals 9 to 13. I didn't do great. Eggs. No, I won't have done great there. No, I finished a paltry 3rd or 4th. Tucked cards. Now this is where things get nice.
Oh! 22. You pulled it off. That's
excellent.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so just enough. It was those tucked cards. So
that was well played. Well played. Well, thank you so much for explaining all of that to us, Cax. And hopefully none of this flew over people's heads. But if this playthrough was helpful to you out there on your path to 120, please consider giving us a subscription and a like. And thanks so much for joining us on Legendary Tactics.